YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we are going to talk about some league winners. I've got 5 players here that I believe are being overlooked in this upcoming redraft season that will be able to help you guys out and get you that championship this season. If you haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Don't forget the like button. So my number one player that I want to mention that is being completely overlooked right now is going to be Kiron Williams. Look, right now he is considered RB8 and he's falling into the late second, maybe early third, depending on how deep your league is. And that is just blowing my absolute mind right now. Look, I understand there's obviously been some murmurs of a foot injury or a foot concern in the offseason, which obviously is something you've got to monitor and keep an eye on. And I get it. The Rams went and drafted Blake Corum in the offseason, so that does scare some people, but not me. Look, Kiron's a younger back. He obviously came out of kind of nowhere last season, and in those games that he played, yes, he missed 5 games due to injury, but in those games he played, he averaged 21 points a game. 21 points a game. Had he played all season, he would have been the clear-cut number 1 running back in last season, and that's even over Christian McCaffrey, who is the clear-cut 101 in most redrafts this upcoming season. So, 15 total touchdowns, a guy who's going to get plenty of opportunities, and with anything, the Rams typically run a one running back type of offense. They're not a huge full committee. Now, do I think Corum's going to have some value? Sure, he'll be played. He'll have some value this upcoming season. And of course, if Kiron does get hurt, Corum is a great handcuff. And he's absolutely somebody you should be considered grabbing probably a lot later. But if you have Kiron, you're going to put Corum on your team. But I'm tired of seeing Kiron Williams being completely disrespected, being drafted in the late second, early third round. And maybe that's good for you. If you guys are watching this channel, you might have found somebody that'd be able to get really in the mid-second round at this point, who's going to end up being a top 5 running back if he continues to do what he did last season. So he is my number 1 player that I think is going to be an absolute league winner that is just falling in drafts or just being completely overlooked. And I think his value is phenomenal right now in that second, late third round. Another running back that I want to mention, and it's, again, I don't get it. Derrick Henry. I get he finished as RB8 and he's kind of RB9 right now. His age is up there and he's in a new offense and there's a lot of uncertainty. But I actually think this offense is great for him. One, he's going from the Tennessee Titans, which had in PFF ranked offensive line of 32 of 32 teams, going to a Baltimore team where their offensive line by PFF was ranked number 4. Huge difference. On top of that, you now have to consider and play really defensively against a Lamar Jackson and a Derrick Henry. Defenses won't be able to solely focus on Derrick Henry like he was in the last, I would say, 3 or 4 years in Tennessee. So now you've got a playmaking running back / quarterback or whatever you guys want to call him, an MVP caliber, an athletic quarterback that can run, pass, do whatever he needs to be a winner. And then you got Derrick Henry behind him. Derrick Henry is in an absolute perfect situation to be better than RB9. Could, again, be a top 5 running back. He has consistently in the last 6 years has had double-digit touchdowns on the ground, and I don't see that slowing down at all. Again, better offensive line in Baltimore, a quarterback that everyone is afraid to play against because you got to figure out who is he going to run around, who is he going to throw around. Like, he is a absolute explosive quarterback. And of course, Derrick Henry going to be an absolute beast in the red zone. So for me, the fact that he's falling in the RB9 spot, that's a little bit of a reach. I think he's going to be that RB6 role when I'm looking at my rankings, and I think him falling in that third round is an absolute steal. So if you guys are doing any mock drafts or anything like that, continue to observe and watch. But if you guys are watching this video, he is definitely somebody that could be a league winner that you should be targeting. Now, another player I'm going to mention is going to be the only tight end I have on this list. It's going to be Dalton Kade. Now, Kade right now is currently ranked at tight end 5. And right there, I actually don't think that's a bad spot. I think he is kind of that spot in most rankings. But why I believe he's a league winner is the fact that, again, he's going to his second season. Yes, there's Dawson Knox to consider and play a little bit of a role, but Dalton Kade in his rookie season had 91 targets. And he didn't play a full season where everyone had expected him. He did have to compete with Dawson Knox. And when Dawson Knox was due to injury, Kincaid was an absolute beast when it came to the tight end role. So do I expect him with more than 91 targets? Absolutely. I think he's going to fall within that 110 to 120 target range, especially because that wide receiver room has completely been revamped, completely changed for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So you got the rookie Keon Coleman. You've got obviously the returning guy in Shakir. You've got Curtis Samuel, who's new. There's a lot of factors in that. But the one staple that I do love is the fact that Kincaid is in his second year. He's already got a rapport with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen loves the tight end position. Dawson Knox does have a role, but he's not going to be a big factor. And remember, Kincaid only had 2 touchdowns last season. That is not going to be where he's going to be every single season. He's a 6 to 8 touchdown type of tight end, and that's going to only drastically improve. So I think he's going to be an absolute league winner. I think because where you're going to be able to draft him, you're not going to have to reach for players like Laporta or McBride or, maybe even a Kelsey. I think you could get Kincaid later on in your draft, shore up your other positions like wide receiver, running back, and you've got a top tight end. So I love Dalton Kade as a league winner. Now, my wide receiver that I have as a league winner right now is going to be Deontay Johnson. Right now, currently ranked as wide receiver 40. His ADP is falling into the 5th, 6th round in most, I would say, drafts that I've seen him in. And Deontay is coming into a new offense with the Carolina Panthers. I get that he was a wide receiver 41 last season in a really interesting quarterback situation with Pickett and an offense that was struggling. He did obviously miss some time. He did have a really great opposite receiver in George Pickens. So it changed a little bit for Deontay. But even when Deontay had Ben Roethlisberger and even a Kenny Pickett, he was force-fed quite a few targets. And I think that's where I think the value is super strong. Right now, Deontay Johnson is being treated as a mid wide receiver 3, high wide receiver 4. I think he's more like a low wide receiver 1, realistically a wide receiver 2 for most fantasy teams. So with that said, you're getting a wide receiver who's being treated as a wide receiver 3 or 4, who could end up most likely being a wide receiver 2 for your team. That value is amazing. He is going to be force-fed plenty of targets his way. I love this offense. I love that this is a whole new offense that both Bryce is going to be along, Thielen, Mingo, Leggett. Like, this whole offense is going to be fantastic and revamped compared to last season. This is not going to be the Carolina of 2023. I like what this team is going to be moving forward. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think Bryce is finally going to be into where I think he is valued at. Bryce is underwhelmingly valued in most redrafts. And obviously, we're not going to talk about that right now. But Deontay Johnson is an absolute winner. I think he's going to be a perfect wide receiver you can draft who might end up helping you to your championship. Now, the last player I'm going to mention as I think a league winner and who I think is going to fall quite a bit that you'll be able to draft and think, man, I'm glad I did, is Jaden Daniels for the Commanders. Right now, he's being treated as QB 11. I get it. A little high for some rookies, but the upside is there. So right now, Dan Quinn has not announced who the starting quarterback is. It's either Mariota or Jaden Daniels. And I think we all kind of probably agree it's probably going to be Jaden Daniels. With that said, you now have a new offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury. Now, if anybody remembers what Cliff was, he was the head coach of the Cardinals. And who was his quarterback? Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler Murray's rookie season was quarterback 6. Do I expect Daniels to be there? Actually, I kind of do. I think Daniels has the ability to be in that type of range in his rookie season. His rushing ability, his threat there is huge. He's got a great arm. He's got really good receiving options. Dotson, Eckler, you got McLaurin. I like Ben Sinnott, right? You still got Brian Robinson Jr. I mean, there's a great receiving aspect to this offense. Obviously, their offensive line's got to improve. This is a new offensive scheme in general, so they're all going to be kind of getting adjusted and situated. But the fact that Jaden Daniels is falling that late in most drafts, I think he's a nice little steal, and he could end up being the quarterback to have for most championship teams just because of where his value is. So again, these guys, I believe, are going to be strong league winners to help you guys with your redraft season. Now, if there are other players you guys think should have been mentioned or other players you guys like, hit me up in the comments down below. I'd love to see what you guys are thinking, what your thoughts are. If you guys have any other questions for redraft or, of course, dynasty content, hit me up in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys are talking about. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Stay tuned to all my other content, mock drafts, and all that fun stuff. We are a month away before the football preseason starts and, of course, before football season really gets kicked off and going. So, again, subscribe, like, and I'll check you guys out next time.